I love getting to follow Kyle because mine is just as interesting. So, good evening. My name is EJ Walsh. I'm the Public Works Director. Tonight, we're going to talk about a couple of projects that are upcoming in this area. And before we do that, though, we do have a handful of citywide projects that are going to be constructed this summer. So what you're seeing in front of you is a list of those projects. The first one, which is one of the bigger ones, is related to our surface water division. So throughout the city, we have a number of pipes that have failed. So these are spot projects where we go in, dig up a pipe, and replace it. The adaptive control system, which is a project, if you've been following Public Works, we've been talking about for a long time. It's a project to allow real-time calibration of the traffic signal system. So if we're using 320th as an example, as you drive down 320th, a computer can control those lights. So when we see an increase in traffic on Pack Highway, it can change the timing in real time to allow more traffic to move through an area in one given time. City Center Access Project is another project right in the same vicinity where we are working with WashDOT and the Federal Highway Administration to improve access to the downtown area. The Greenway Plan is exactly what it seems. It's a path and trail project citywide. And then horizontal curve safety improvements. So roads like Dash Point Road that have very steep, sharp turns, where we implemented a project to go through and re-sign or provide additional signage for all of those steep curves. And then variable lane use control is what you see in the picture on the bottom. And what it will allow us to do is, in conjunction with that adaptive traffic control program, to change the lane configuration at intersections to get the most amount of traffic through an intersection at a given time. So the overlay projects, this is a fairly aggressive year. We're overlaying a lot of roads this year. So the list you see on the screen are all the roads, and some of them, have, like for 336, have already started this year. The other one, so those projects you see on the screen are all projects that the city is doing. So for anyone that travels in front of the school right here on a regular basis, you're probably well aware that PSE has been working on a gas main project for quite a while to upgrade that. That project, they're going to wait until school is out, but they are going to overlay all of those roads in the end of June. They're targeting the 4th week of June for a start for that. So on the capital project sides, we do have a couple specific projects we're working on knocking out this summer too. So 348th and 16th variable message sign. So if you are familiar with where you come off of I-5 on 320th, the Welcome to Federal Way message board that displays all the different messages, we're working with LTAC, which is the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, to install a second entrance to Federal Way sign. So that one will be at 348th and 16th, coming off of that exit of that 18 corridor. So the ADA transition plan, so this is a project that's been underway since the mid-90s. And that is the first stage of it is to upgrade the ADA ramps or the handicap ramps at Pacific Highway and South 320th. So that ADA transition plan is something we've been going through and cataloging intersection by intersection, handicap ramp by handicap ramp, which ones are compliant with federal regulations, which ones need to be upgraded, which ones are in the gray area between it. And what we're doing is we are selectively going through and upgrading all those facilities. So we received a grant to do this intersection first. So the Brook Lake Center connector, this is a fun project. This is a project where we're going to connect the Blueberry Farm Brook Lake Center to the West Hylobos Trail system. So we're doing this in conjunction with Storming the Sound with Salmon, which is another surface water program we do in association with the school district to allow for increased parking, specifically for that Storming the Sound. But this trail will be open to the public year-round to increase usage in the West Hylobos Wetlands Park. So the downtown staircase is another project right in front of the Performing Arts Center that we're working on. And then the Lakota Middle School sidewalk project is slated to be constructed next summer. And then we shortly will be starting the Sacagawea Middle School sidewalk project. So Hoyt Road is scheduled as part of our overlay program for next summer. So we have heard from the community some feedback and a desire to have widened shoulders or a sidewalk along that roadway. Depending on the design, basically the widened shoulders option is approximately $500,000, and the constructing full-blown sidewalks in accordance with the city standards, as well as all the street lighting that would go with that, the price for that is approximately $1.5 million. That is outside of the overlay program funding. That is not something that we currently have identified city revenue source for. We have applied for multiple grants over the last several years to get that funded as part of a grant application, and at the end of the day, we have not been successful with this program. So we are continuing to try and find a grant opportunity to fund this, but as of right now, that road will be overlaid next summer, conforming to the existing roadway section. So the safe routes to schools, because we were at Green Gables, we threw the slide on here. So the green trails that you see are the designated walking routes. This is a map that's developed in conjunction with the school district. And this is what we use jointly with us and the school district to identify how students are supposed to be walking to schools or from schools. And then this is what we use to help focus those projects that we were just talking about. So with the Safe Routes to School program, you can see that that section of Hoyt Road that we were just talking about is not identified as a safe route, walking route. So that does play into this a little bit. And with that, I will turn it over to the mayor.